Hey, it's Christi Friesen, and join me here in my little studio while we take a sort of overview and I tell you some backstory about one of the mosaic assemblage pieces that I've created. This one's called Garden of Possibilities. Come on, let me tell you about it. This is a bright, happy piece, I think, and it all started with these beautiful little glass millefiori from Murano. I've been to Murano, which is a little island off of Venice, and they are renowned for centuries of glass making. It's a fabulous little island. If it's not already on your bucket list, it should be. I just had such a great time. And there's several different places on the island, one in particular where you can buy some of the raw ingredients for creating things out of glass, including these little millefiori. So the way a glass cane is made, and those of you who are polymer people will be familiar with this process because it's the same thing, is tiny little rods of glass are stretched and combined together and stretched again until you get these just different patterns. It's time consuming. It's a very high level of skill to be able to do it. And then once these long glass rods or canes are done, then they're snapped into smaller manageable bits, which is what these are. I love them so much. They're so beautiful. And what I think I love the most about them is not only do they have the pattern of the flower, which is really fun, and there's so many different ones to choose from, but as you go through it, because it's glass, there's see-throughness. A lot of these are ringed around with a clear glass. Other times they're colored, but you can you can see through it. So there's a depth. It's very exciting. Like, these are very simple. They're just little star shapes of an opaque green glass inside of a clear round glass. It just is just so much fun. I love using glass bits in my pieces anyway. This is a mosaic assemblage where I oftentimes will combine polymer clay pieces with other kinds of mosaic stuff using epoxy clay to create an assemblage. This one doesn't have any polymer clay in it. It's all bits and pieces of things. And I just want you to see a couple of these interesting things. So I've got these wonderful bits that I picked up in Murano, which I love. And then I've combined them with some other glass. So I've got like a little piece of glass here. This is a stringer. So when somebody's creating these long strands that are used in glass, lampwork glass making, there's a little blob at the end that you're holding on to with your tool while you pull it. And I've got a couple of pals who will let me have those little end bits from their stringers, which I just love because they create this really fun sort of blob frozen in time. It's awesome. So I've got a couple of those all spread out. Then I also have some porcelain beads. I picked up these really cool glazed ceramic porcelain beads with these wonderful glazes on them. And of course, first thing I'm going to do with a gorgeous bead like that is get out my hammer and smash it up so that I can use it as embellishments within this sort of garden. So I call this one the Garden of Possibilities because why not? There's so many possibilities that this garden can be. And I love bringing all the little bits and pieces of things that were possible to be anything. There's a lot of things that were beads or, you know, have cabochons that could be used in jewelry or buttons. So there were a lot of possibilities, but it came together in this gardeny shape. So I've got some stones in here. I love stones, so I use them quite frequently. There's chrysoprase and probably some jade and maybe even some turquoise bits in there. A lot of shell chips because shell chips are the best. I love those. And then this little bit here is an old shell, mother of pearl shell button with a coin pearl on top. And that to me is one of the wonderful things about working with epoxy clay, and I use epoxy sculpt epoxy clay, is that you can work dimensionally. It becomes sculptural. A traditional mosaic tends to be very flat because of the historicity of what it was used for. They started their lives at mosaics as like rugs in a sense. You know, you walk in and you're stepping on this tile, this rug, as it were, of stone. And so evenness and flatness is really important, hence the grouting in between things to keep all of those layers flat, be able to be walked on and comfortable. But when you get to an artistic expression of a mosaic technique, you do not have to be constrained by any of those things. You can do whatever you like, which is what I do. And I just kind of go a little nuts and crazy and make things stick up and out and things on top of things and just have fun with it. As I do sometimes, I mount this on a wooden canvas. On this particular one, I used an acrylic wash, so you can still see the wood grain in. I like that effect. And then I took my colored pencils and went over trying to create a background that would add to the design and bring some elements of this design and make it more fun and more finished. And I thought that worked out with this one. So, and then what I like to do is on the back, obviously I've signed the piece, but I've got a really good hanger in here, and you can see the hint of little screws. These are all held down firmly with screws so that the epoxy clay that I used to anchor this piece on has a real firm grip and won't fall off the wood later. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you all these different components, because to me, the fun of any kind of creation that's made with lots of little things is that when you look at it, you get immediate sense of the piece. And then as you look at it more, it's like a journey of discovery. It's like, oh, hey, look at those little things. They're standing up on top of there. Oh, neat. Hey, that's shells. Oh, look, that's a, and so as you look at it more and more, you see more and more. And to me, that's just the joy of it. So, a little garden of possibilities for your viewing pleasure. Oh, well, it's over, but there are a few more things you can do now that you're still loitering around here that would make me very happy. If you want to hit like, that will make me feel warm and fuzzy. And if you leave me a comment, then that'll make me feel even better, which is great, right? Obviously, subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications button if you want to see what else I've got new, so you can keep up with whatever kind of crazy goodness I pop up with all the time, including there's some more videos there that I think you might want to watch. So feel free, click on those and keep on watching. What else did you have to do anyway, right?